I missed something on the other video. It was about the eyes. Evolution says that we didn't. There was no intelligence in design yet. The eye formed to see. It just preconceded what it was going to do. So were people walking around with holes in their sockets, or did the eye form with like rods and cones? And then you think that, oh, these rods and cones, are they not the primary colours to see all other colours? What was the coincidence? How did the eye form with these colours in the eye, that we would see all colours, that we wouldn't see all shades of one colour, like all shades of green or all different shades of red? If you change the saturation and things on your TV, the colours just change and go out of sync, don't they? So how did evolution just form the eye to see? And it preconceded what things would looking like. It knew that something existed to see, so the eye formed to see it. But not only that, it knew it was in colour. So if you look at the workings and the intricacy of the design of the eye, how did this happen over millions of years? Because if you take the life out of the body, it decomposes really quickly. So the evolutionary period of a human can't possibly be over millions of years. That's ridiculous. It can be millions of years is one being to the next, because you're dying and then regrowing in another birth. So you're giving birth to things. But the very first being on the earth could not. Was there one amoeba? Was there many amoebas? I mean, it couldn't, could it? If there was no life in it, so there must have been life before the body formed. So there was life in something. Because if you take part of the body away, it doesn't work. If there's no spirit and there's nothing there, it doesn't work. You know that because you see death. So you take the life out of this life now. If I was to drop dead now, then within a week or two, I'd decompose. So if there was no life inside the body or inside the being of whatever it was, it would die and decompose very quickly. So if there wasn't any life in any of the amoeba or anything, it wouldn't form, would it? It wouldn't go on, it wouldn't progress, because it wouldn't be able to. It'd be decomposing, not getting into something. It couldn't evolve to something. The duration of time is ridiculous. If you're dying, if you live 80 years. So evolution's rubbish. God created us. The evolutionary period is all out of sync. If God created us, you could say, oh, well, it says in the Bible that God lived forever. But you can say that somebody just wrote that. But if somebody just wrote that, oh yeah, God lives forever. But if you think about it, if something lives forever, it's able to form. It formed, didn't it? Formed. It would have formed and stayed alive. I mean, why did death happen? Why did death happens? And there must have been life inside the body before it formed. So I don't understand evolution on the fact that if the mouth formed to eat and there was no food, where was the food? What was the food eating? You could say H2O is water and hydrogen. I did write something. I'm going to put another video about it's impossible that water, something to do with plant life and something else. I seen something there that actually seemed ridiculous, that there wasn't enough water, but that's not the body, is it? So have a think. Was there something? Evolutionists say themselves they must dismiss the fact that there's a spirit inside the body or anything other than the bits to keep it working, which means when it formed from the beginning, all the bits must have been there from the beginning. So somebody, the author of the Bible, thought, oh, it's impossible that we evolved over millions of years. He must have thought that when he wrote the Bible, that it was impossible to evolve over millions of years. So he wrote and went, we was made from the breath of God's nostrils. And even if not, he wrote something that was actually truer than what came after from people that believe they know science and they can break it down. So what was there a heart flapping about looking for a set of lungs? What part of the body was there first? Was there life in it? Was it dead and then just it formed? It can't form dead, can it? Because it would decompose. So how did these molecules, or it doesn't matter how far you break it down, it doesn't matter how little the molecules are, if they're holding life, if they're not forming and they're not there straight away, because we know death, we know that life must have been in there because of the decomposition of the body when we do die. And it doesn't matter what creature you talk about, does it? I'm not saying all creatures, I don't know enough knowledge. I'm just looking at the human body and dogs and animals and different animals, and it doesn't matter what you're talking about. And somebody says to me about evolution that the polar bear is white because evolution decided it should be white. Now, how did evolution know that snow was white and the polar bear had to be white? Does the polar bear, you've got animals in this world that can actually change colour. Isn't an iguana can actually change colour or grow its limbs back? So it has the ability to change itself. But a polar bear was white because it's not got the ability to change itself, has it? No, the polar bear cannot have the ability to change itself. If you started putting it somewhere where it was surrounded by purple, we would not have a purple bear. Absolutely ridiculous, because it hasn't got the ability to do that, has it? So it's ridiculous. And somebody tried to point out something about colour blindness. Well, that's when the rods are out of sync. So if the rods are out of sync, were they out of sync when they started? And then they thought, oh, if we move about, we can start seeing all the colours of the planet. Ridiculous. Evolution's rubbish. And I don't care what you throw at me, or how many insults you throw at me, or whatever you think, I know God exists. And I do. I'm telling you. And I'm telling you, evolution is rubbish.